Welcome. What's up, everybody? What is going on? How y'all doing? Welcome to episode number 9 of the Matt Mettler podcast. Man, this is a milestone episode for me. I'm very excited about episode number 9, and I'll tell you why, people. So back in the day when I did my original podcast, I only made it to 9 episodes. It took me a really long time, too. It took me a really long time to get to 9 episodes. My production schedule was very loose and very not. It was different back then, right? So this is episode number 9. I am now on day number 42 of this project to launch the Matt Mettler podcast and to make this a real thing out in the world, man. I very much want to thank every single one of you for helping me do that. It is awesome. So welcome. Welcome to episode number 9 of the Matt Mettler podcast. I want to give some shout outs to people. I want to give a shout out to my man, Sharky. My buddy Larry Newhoffen down in Colorado Springs. Man, I love you, man. Thank you for giving me a phone call earlier today. It made my day to hear your voice, and I'm so glad to call you a friend, bro. I'm so thankful that you gave me a call. It was really great to talk to you, man. I love you. Here's another one. A dude that I haven't talked to in a long time, man, Eric Burr. Eric Burr out there in the world somewhere down south. I don't know where you are, Florida or somewhere in where it's hot and muggy probably. What's up, Eric? I hope that you're well, man. And then also I want to thank Jason Taylor. Jason, I want to thank you for liking the show and just all of you guys for supporting me and liking the show. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me, man. It's awesome. So my production schedule was thrown way off my computer. My old computer completely wet the bed and had a hard drive malfunction. And basically I had recorded all of show 8. And I was about halfway through the editing process of it. And I saved it. I came to it the next morning. And when I woke my computer up, it was hosed. It was completely toasted. I was very lucky that I was able to recover most of my data. And I would say that a good part of that luck was actually based on the fact that I was trying to do things to help favor that in the event that there was a problem. So yeah, I'm very thankful that show 8 was not lost, because in addition, I lost the show notes for show 8. So I couldn't even recreate it if I wanted to, because I didn't even have my show notes. Right. So I was very thankful that show 8 wasn't lost, because I think there's some good stuff in there, man. And every time I have to go back and redo these, it kind of sucks. So I've got a new computer and it's awesomer and it's faster. It doesn't have more memory, but let's see. So generations in computers is about every 6 months, right? So this computer is about 12 generations newer, 10 probably. Yeah, 10 or 12 generations. Definitely a big difference, right? Yeah, so I'm very hopeful that having a new computer is going to help me generate a lot more content and help me crank these shows out, because it's just faster and better, and I'm excited about that, right? It sucked that I had to go out and buy a new computer, but man, sometimes you got to spend money to make money. Sometimes you got to fund your dream. That is what I'm doing right now, is funding this dream. I'm doing it on a wing and a prayer, and I'm hopeful that at some point I can actually find some sponsors to help me possibly make this an actual way to get paid and or have a career. Because one of the things I'm very worried about is that I've said a lot of things, man. I've confessed a lot of stuff, right? And I'm worried that being so honest might not favor me when I get out into I'm not so worried about it with the show and production stuff, because you're kind of you just sort of show up and do the show for the day anyway. It's not like, it's kind of different than just like an office environment, something like that. But even there, I recognize that I can't just go around saying whatever I want about whoever I want. That's why I always try to keep this in the realm of reason. And the other part of that is I don't want this show at all to be any kind of dirt slinging thing. If I have things that are negative to say about somebody, I'm going to try to just not say them at all. I'd rather just not do that. I just want to give praise to people that I think are doing a great job and leave the bad people out. Why do I need to talk about them? I don't need to talk about them at all. So when I got my hard drive out of the computer, I found a program called Test Disk that helped me do some data recovery off of my hard drive. And I'm very thankful to the Test Disc people for that software. It was a freeware kind of thing, and they have a little place where you could donate. This is my donation, is to give those guys a little love on this program and say that if you need to try a data recovery solution on a hard drive, give Test Disc a try. And if it's successful for you, maybe throw them a couple bucks. That'd be sweet. It helped me. So me and my buddy Sharky were talking before the show. He called me and it was awesome. He let me know that he had listened to the first show, and it was ironic because I was kind of waiting to hear from him. Yeah, I was kind of waiting to hear what he had to say. And he was like, well, I've been really busy and I didn't get to listen to the show. And he goes, I wanted to give it a real open, honest listen that it deserved. And he called me and told me that he really loved the show. And I was just so thankful. To hear it from people that you don't know, that's nice, right? But to hear it from somebody who's been there with you for, me and Sharky known each other like 30 years now. 29 years? Yeah, I've known Sharky 29 years. And for him to tell me that he loved the program meant the world to me. It was awesome. So, Shark, thank you for calling me, man. It was great to hear your voice, and I love you. You're one of my favorite mofacles on the entire surface of the planet of the Earth. Thank you for being my friend. I'm proud to call you a friend. Me and him talked a little bit about the fact that I want to invite him on to do an interview at some point in the future because he and I both struggled with addiction. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here a little later in the program, but I want to hear his story about that because I'm going to tell you mine, but I never heard his. So thank you, Sharky. Thank you for calling. He called me and we were talking about the fact that I had to return to social media. And I was telling him that it was very weird. Conversation started out. He was like, I know you're not on social media very much. I said, well, I had to kind of return to social media because I need it for its ability to get the message out about the show. And I said, so I've returned in a limited capacity, but I'm really trying to keep it at arm's length, and I'm trying to approach it from a different perspective. So I have actually been off of social media. For the most part, I've been off social media for about 6 years. This morning, I was smurfing around on Facebook and also on Twitter a little bit. It made me recognize that one of the reasons that I initially left Facebook 6 years ago, there's a couple reasons, was it was becoming a detriment to being in the world and having a job. You're really not allowed to say anything controversial because people out there in the world are going to look that up and they're going to hold it against you. And it's going to become, even if it was 10 years ago, they have now been around 10 years. Even if it was a really long time ago, they'll still try and hold it in your face like you're not allowed to change or like you never held an opinion that ever changed in your life. So at that time, it was looking very unattractive to me because I was trying to move into the computers business at the next level and I just didn't need it. I didn't need all the drama from it, right? So I just sort of dumped it. And one of the side effects of dumping your social media is I stopped having anxiety about it. I stopped really caring about it at all. And when I would watch other people sit there and just endlessly scroll through their shit, I was like, wow, I'm not missing Facebook. I'm really not. One of the things that's a little sad is that, yes, I was missing some details in my friend's life, and that is sad. But the reality is I wasn't missing Facebook. I wasn't missing Facebook itself. I can tell you that much. I feel like I had thousands and thousands of hours back during those 6 years when I wasn't on Facebook. So I got back on there this morning and I spent about 30 minutes just looking around. And it really made me recognize why I had left initially, because it is sort of this virtual pissing post where people sort of drive by meme everybody. And when I was talking to Sharky, he said the most brilliant thing. He gave this great encapsulation of, he goes, Facebook right now is fuck you, fuck Trump. Here's what I had for dinner. Here's a picture of a cat. It was so funny the way it just came straight out. And I was like, that is such a dead on accurate assertion of what is going on over at Facebook, right? So that really made me laugh when he said that. And it was really brilliant. And as somebody who's just returning to Facebook, I think that summed it up pretty good, right? So, and then the other thing is that I still don't get Twitter. I see why it's hard to get Twitter to be a truly profitable company, because there's a weird thing going on over there. Again, I'm trying to stay at arm's length with that one, especially because I'm opinionated and they don't like people that are opinionated. They just want people who are rah-rah, right? So I'm just going to use it to promote the show. This is my decision because I don't trust Facebook to not sell all my information and overanalyze everything I do. Let me tell you something, people, about Facebook. Okay, as an IT security guy, I had access to equipment that would allow me to see all of the requests coming out of the business that I used to work for. And Facebook has two different platforms. One is called LiveRail. So you have Facebook and you have LiveRail. LiveRail is the metrics and analysis portion of Facebook. And what you guys don't know is that 80% of Facebook traffic is measuring what you're doing, is transmitting telemetry back to Facebook about how long you looked at the post. Did you play 5 seconds? Did you play 12 seconds? Did you play the whole thing? They look at all of that. The LiveRail traffic that is metadata about your interaction with Facebook is 80% of that interaction. 20% of it is serving you content. When you know that, when you see it from that perspective, it's actually kind of creepier. It's not just creepy, it's creepier. Yeah, I don't know where this goes that isn't 1984. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Returning to social media is weird. And I'm really trying to not get sucked back into it in the way that I once did. And I'm really trying to leave it behind as a virtual pissing post. I just want to promote positivity there, and I'm going to try and abandon negativity at Facebook. And if that means not really being honest, not speaking my mind, and not posting there as much, so be it, right? I think that that's the best move for me from a strategic perspective, is to just keep it light and not go there. Oh, so a couple of weeks back, before I started moving, and well, just prior to me starting moving, I was contacted by a really nice gentleman via email named Luke. And Luke is a representative from the mental health community here in Colorado. And he asked if I might have some time on my show to talk about mental health. I wrote him back and I said, absolutely. I absolutely have some time on this show to talk about mental health. I think that mental health is a very important subject, probably more important now than it's ever been, and partly because we need to become more active in it. We have to be more active in it because it does not receive infinite funding. I don't think it should receive infinite funding, but I do understand that it's critical and that it's important and that it impacts a lot of people's lives, and that there are a lot of people out there that can be helped by having mental health treatment and can be helped by having those things available to them. So I definitely understand the importance of it. So at some point in the future here, I want to try and devote a show, or it'll probably be a whole show, because I know for a fact that coming up with 30 minutes about mental health probably wouldn't be even a challenge. That would just be sort of scratching the surface of the whole mental health thing. But I really do hope that we can have a cool conversation about that and that it might help some folks. I've struggled with a lot of things in my life. Some of my friends have too. And I've known a lot of people that have committed suicide. And if we can help some folks through this, that would be great. That would be really great if we could positively impact people's lives in that way through this show. That would be just awesome. So that'll be coming out here in the not too distant future. I'm not exactly sure when, but I'm going to try and have that happen here soon. Okay, soon-ish. So think that'll be on the horizon. That's coming up in the not too distant future. So next I wanted to talk about the 9 lives of Matt Mettler. I've done a lot of things in my life, and I've been through a lot of phases and chapters, and I've had a lot of different crazy experiences in lives. And one of those was being in the military. I was over in Germany for a couple of years, man. While I was over in Germany, I got to visit Spain. I went to the Netherlands, and it was really eye-opening to live in Germany for 2 years. I got to see how an entirely different culture that isn't like America gets along, and they do it pretty well. And to go to Spain and to go to all these places, it really opened my eyes. I also got to go to Belgium when I was there. To see all those places and to experience other people's cultures is really eye-opening. Then, I worked as a strip club DJ after I got out of the Army. I did that for about 2.5 years. right? And that was good and bad. It was pretty fun and all that stuff, but there's a lot of negative associated with strip clubs. And a lot of the people that you meet have gone through a lot of hardship in their life and have experienced a lot of things. And a lot of the gals that work around the strip club industry have suffered abuse, both physical or emotional, and it leaves a lot of wreckage. And a lot of those people have a lot of baggage, right? And I'm not trying to bag on every one of them. Not every one of them is a wreck. Some of them really had their stuff together. They came in there and ran it like a boss and made an awful lot of money and paid off a lot of debt. We had a couple of people that were hustlers and, they were using it as a stepping stone to get to where they wanted to go. And then you had people who were kind of trapped in it, right? So there's definitely a downside to the club business. Even though it's kind of fun to party and hang out in, there can definitely be a downside to the strip club industry and that business, right? I spent some time as a drug addict. For about a year and a half, I was fairly addicted to methamphetamines. It really drug me down to a terrible place in my life. And it really derailed me and put me into a course that was completely off the path that I was supposed to go down. And as a former dope dealer who sold meth to other people, I just want to apologize. I want to say that I'm sorry because I never should have messed with it. I never should have touched it. And I certainly should have never sold it to my friends. And there's a part of me that would try to argue that, well, they would have got it from somewhere else. They should have got it from somewhere else. It should have never been me, but I had a very weird life and weird connections back then. And it was just the way that it all worked out. But if I had it all to do again, I would have just left it alone. I would have never touched it because it is a very evil drug and it will make you do things that you would never normally consider doing. And it will take you to a very ugly place, right? So it starts out very fun and then it just gets very nightmarish after that. So I'm very thankful to have been able to pull out of that. I'm very thankful to have finally arrived at a place where I left it alone and walked away from it. And it took several months to get back to being anything like feeling remotely normal. For at least 3 months, I had no idea what feeling normal was. Like I just felt like it was this zombie. And then I think finally your brain chemistry starts to sort of arrive back at where it's supposed to be or something that looks more like normal. And you settle into something that's more like normal and you begin to come out of it. But there's a saying about it's a long, hard road out of the darkness into the light. And I would say that that is very, very true with meth addiction. So I was very thankful to have escaped from the clutches of it and been able to salvage the wreckage of that period of my life and get my stuff together and move forward. I'm very thankful for that, guys. You don't even know. Then I was a student for a while at the Institute of Art, and that was really cool because I got to learn something that I was really in love with doing, which is just audio and engineering and sound and the science of sound and the entertainment business. And I initially started in the entertainment business in the 7th grade. I was the spotlight operator for the Christmas show. And I think that that's sort of funny because had I not gone into entertainment at some point, that would be meaningless. It would have been a footnote. It did really kind of lead me into being the tech. I was always that nerd guy anyway. I was the guy that would set up the VCR and play the tape or set up the movie player and play the film. I was always that guy. So it just sort of felt natural that I ended up becoming a tech as I moved into my life. Yeah. That's what happens when the AV nerd grows up. They become a tech. I went out into the world and I was an entertainment technician in the concert and entertainment business for, 12 years after I graduated from the Institute of Art. I really loved and I miss that very much. And I want to get back to doing some shows and doing some production and doing some mixing. I would really like to find some bands or clubs that need an audio engineer and do some mixing, man, because I just miss it. I really do miss it. Entertainment gets in your blood and it ruins you. It completely ruins you for everything else. Everything else just kind of comes off as boring. That was one of the things that I used to think about, sitting in my cubicle. It's like I would sit there in my cubicle clicking away on my mouse, and I used to think, dude, I used to put Kiss on stage. I used to hang out with Snoop Doggy Dogg. I used to have the tour manager from Iron Maiden ask me if I was ready to start the fucking show. You know, like I felt like such a loser sitting around in that cubicle, and I just wanted to get back to having a real life again. So I'm thankful to be back out in the world. I really want to get back to doing some production. You guys out there that are my super friends, you guys know who I'm talking about. If you know of something, man, give me a heads up. Hit me up on Facebook. Give me a message, text me. My phone number hasn't changed in 50 years, man. And you can always find me at mattmettler.com. I tried to make it as easy as possible for human beings that know this guy named Matt Mettler to find him, because there's this website called mattmettler.com. And even though there's 25 dudes named Matt Mettler, I'm the only one that owns that website, dude. So you can always get a hold of me. I'm easy peasy, baby. You want to text me, you want to email me, it's all right there, mattmettler.com. Oh, and then, my final ninth life maybe will be podcaster / video maker / entertainer, because I feel like there's so many amazing stories that need to be told. There's a lot of really cool stories in the world that I would love to tell. And I would love to tell some of the stories of some of the people that I know, because some of the folks that I'm friends with are famous amongst the famous. Some of the people that I'm friends with are out on tour right now. And, it's really great to see those guys living their dreams out on the road, doing what they're doing. And part of the reason that people go out on the road is it seems very glamorous externally, but the reality is the road is hard. The days are long. There's a significant amount of work. Sure, there's some fun involved, but those guys work really hard. And the reason that they're doing it is to earn better money, right? Because the road just pays better money. I get that. So I would love to tell some of their stories, because there's some super cool people out there that are doing really amazing things in the world. And you know them because you've seen them on stages at shows and stuff like that. You don't know it, but you have. That's why I'd look familiar to you. You'd be like, wow, man, you look familiar to me. It's like, yeah, because if you ever went to a show like during 2000 to 2010, I was probably there. Yeah. So that's the end of my 9 lives of Matt Mettler segment. I'm going to move into my next thing here, which is see your dentist. Man, people, I just got done going to my dentist, and I just got done spending $1,200 on getting my teeth cleaned, because I hadn't been in a long time, and it was I was in dire need of getting them done, and I'm very thankful to have that done now. My mouth is kind of just beat up. The right side of my mouth is just very messed up today, but I'm thankful because based on my experience with what happened with the left side of my mouth, I'm very hopeful that after this and it heals, that I'm going to be feeling a lot better. Yeah. So if you have been putting off seeing your dentist to get a cleaning or something like that, go do it, people. It just gets more expensive. So, go do that and get it taken care of. You'll feel better afterwards, I promise. Oh, so I went out and looked for some art out in Denver's streets. I had some old pictures, and a lot of the pictures that are included in the episode 8 are actually from a long time ago that I took a bunch of photos, but I also went down and found some new stuff. So about half of those are new, half of those are old. And we really do have an incredible street art scene here in Denver. We have amazing artists that go out there and make incredible street art. I just kind of wanted to give a nod or a props to our local artists. And one of the things that is really neat about that is that there's so many different areas and there's so many different artists, and some of them are good. Some of them are really good. Some of them are amazing. Some of them, I've captured a couple of them. There's one in episode number 8 where it's like this red, sort of crimson red photo, and it's 2 crazy warriors fighting each other. That one's amazing. And then I just took a couple of really super amazing ones the other day. I'm going to see if I can include those maybe in this one. There's amazing artists around here, and it's really cool to see that scene in Denver, that we appreciate that sort of stuff. I think that's cool, man. I really like that. Denver's so different now, man. When I was down in Rhino and Lodo, first of all, those didn't used to be called that. Lodo used to be called 5 Points, right? And it was not a very good neighborhood at all. And then Rhino, I don't know what it used to be called, but it is so crazy because now there's these huge apartment blocks down there and there's breweries everywhere and all these warehouses have been converted into all sorts of other stuff. And they practically took a wrecking ball to the whole thing. And it doesn't look anything like how it used to look to me, even 15 years ago. I drove down through there and I was like, wow, this looks completely different. I don't remember this at all. It's incredible to see how much Denver has changed and the different parts of Denver have been transformed from bad neighborhoods into unaffordable housing. That's the other thing is Denver is just super expensive right now. And it's hard on all of us in that respect. So yeah, Denver has definitely grown. No doubt about it. My next topic, we have amazing concentrates. We have incredible concentrates here in the state of Colorado. As somebody who has as long and as extensive a history of being around cannabis, I'm going to try and stop calling it marijuana. I'm trying to go back to calling it cannabis. Since I now know that the government did that as a propaganda move, I'm going to try and call it cannabis. Since I've had such a long relationship with cannabis, it's really amazing to see how the science and technology component or aspect of this has come so far forward. It has become, we used to jokingly say, it's not rocket science. Well, now it kind of is. It is almost rocket science level. Like some of these CO2 extractions and solvent extractions and different mechanical systems that they've created to do these extractions are really amazing. And I never in a million years saw that coming in the way that it did. It has transformed the cannabis industry dramatically. It blew my mind. I kind of envisioned that once it went legal that we would see something that was more like a lot of hashish. I thought we would see something more like Morocco, where they would take mountains and mountains of marijuana and they would turn it into hashish. And technically that is what they're doing, but I meant sort of like a beaten traditional kind of hash. But I never saw this level of technology. I never saw this level of science coming onto the scene. The level of science that has taken place since 2005 to now, it has leaped forward like 120 years. The amount of innovation and science going on around the marijuana plant, it's got to be the most advanced field of botanics that there is on the planet right now. It must be. It simply must be, because the level of change that has swept over that industry is amazing. It's really incredible to see how we're shifting away from traditional flower, or at least the consumption of flower is losing ground to the consumption of concentrates. It's amazing to see that. I never thought that would happen in a million years as somebody who was a dealer for so long. I got this strain called Banana Hammock, Diamonds and Sauce, from a cool dispensary. I got two amazing strains, and the extracts that they're producing now are just incredible looking, and they smell incredible. I never could have imagined that we would see cannabis technology like this. It's really amazing to see it happen. Since I'm on the subject of we have amazing extracts, I want to talk briefly about my Yocan Evolve XL. Now, this is not a paid promotion. This is just me talking about the fact that I like it. And the reason why I like it so much is that I've had to buy about 4 different vaporizers, but I've had this Yocan for a while. And it has been a workhorse, and it has been really great. It has been durable, and it lasts, and it has a really nice, the battery still works really good. It is a solid, tough product, and that's why I want to give it props. I mostly exclusively vaporize live resin out of it because it leaves so very little residue vaporizing, versus if you vaporize wax, there's like this residue that gradually builds up. Now, I will say, for best results in your Yocan, I think you should replace your coil about every 3 weeks to a month. And that will give you better battery longevity. That will give you better flavor. And they're really sort of inexpensive and they're not a big deal. So getting a replacement, definitely the way to go, right? So yeah, the Yocan Evolve XL, I really love it. And it's only like $40, man, $45. Yeah, I would recommend that to folks that want to try vaping. Briefly, my next segment is, when you know me, when you're a friend of Matt Mettler, you're an insider. And you got inside information into stuff, man, because I'm an insider and I got inside information. So by being in proximity to me, man, you got the hookup, man. You got a friend. You got a friend in me. You know what I mean? So now that you know me, for all of your head shop needs, and I do mean your head shop needs, if you run a head shop or if you run some sort of store that sells any kind of head supplies, you should call my man Dave over at Oriental Imports. He runs one of the largest distribution centers here in Denver, and he is a super wonderful guy, and I love dealing with him. Yeah, for all your head shop needs, and if you're just an individual and you want to buy something too, go see my man Dave over at Oriental Imports. It's right over by the Merchandise Mart near I-25 and 58th, and tell him that Matt Mettler sent you. He's a great guy, and please be respectful and nice. If you're a big buyer, if you run a store or something like that, the back is amazing. And he's got every single thing in the world that you might possibly need. Go see Dave. He's a good guy. All right. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about coming back around, man. The universe is a weird spiral, and it's time for me to come back around and be seen again. I disappeared long enough off the planet of Earth. It's time for me to get back out in the world. So I'm coming back around, people. Before I wrap this bad boy up, I just wanted to say that, like Jerry Maguire, you complete me. You complete me. The audience makes this happen. The audience makes the show, right? Otherwise, it's just me. It's just me talking to a microphone. That's nothing. But when you guys are on the other end listening to this, a magical thing takes place. It's called a show. I'm so thankful to you guys for being there and listening and liking and joining and subscribing and supporting the show. It feels awesome. It feels so awesome to have that from you guys, man. It really does. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Hey, it's super important that you please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Any or all of those things are fantastic because they really love when people like things and subscribe and share it and all that stuff. So the more that we interact with these videos, the better it is for the channel. And I really thank you for your help in promoting the channel. All of you guys out there who have liked it. And if I haven't gotten to you yet, if I haven't given you a shout out yet, I'm going to try and get everybody, because all of you are important and every person that shares it makes it more successful. So thank you, everyone. Please make sure you join me for the next episode of the Matt Mettler Podcast. The Matt Mettler Podcast is a Matt Mettler production. Copyright 2019.